It's serious and silliness bodybuilding. I'm your host, John Livia. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button because I'm bringing you the best bodybuilding content on YouTube, on Rumble, on Apple iTunes, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, blah, 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 blah. Quick announcement. There will not be a muscle talk this week. Wednesday night. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to record it, but we will be back next week and we'll be talking about the Arnold Classic South America, the Arnold Classic Brazil, because that will be the next contest coming up. Now, here's the reason for this particular video. I'm sure you guys all saw the thumbnail and like, what the hell is John talking about? I am a huge fan of bodybuilding. I love it. I've always loved it. I have been interested in bodybuilding since I'm 15 years old. I love every aspect of it. I love the competitive part. I love learning about the supplements. I love learning about the PEDs. I love learning about the nutrition. I love learning about the workouts. I'm fans of particular bodybuilders my entire life. I've been a fan of individual bodybuilders as well as bodybuilding in general. But I've noticed something, and I feel like sometimes people have to say things that, hurt people's feelings, but it needs to be said. I truly believe that the majority of people that are pursuing a bodybuilding career, and when I say bodybuilding, I don't mean just bodybuilding. I'm talking wellness, bikini, all of them, everyone are wasting their time. Now, look, if you're in your 40s or 50s and you want to do a show because you want to see what it's like or whatever, that's different. Right? You see what let's see what it's about. Something that I always wanted to do, bucket list item, completely different. If you are in your early 20s and you want to compete, all right, no problem. But I've seen people through their 20s, through their 30s, through their 40s, through their 50s, literally wasting their entire life on pursuing a dream that is never going to happen. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's plenty of people. And even just going to an NPC show, the majority of people that you could see compete are not quality. There might be a handful of people that are quality that should go on to a national level show. But the majority of them, I mean, I'm talking 80, 85% of them are not quality. And they're wasting their time. And you're not going to get anything back. You're going to put so much, bodybuilding is an extremely self-absorbed sport. You're going to be wasting your money. You're going to be wasting your time. You're going to be putting family and friends at an arm's distance. You're going to be postponing life choices. I mean, it is a sport that takes so much from you and doesn't return unless you're one of the elite. I mean, first of all, you need the genetics. Okay. Now, you could look at a kid who's 18, 19, into his early 20s, and you go, yo, that kid's got what it takes. I've seen those kids. I've competed with people like that were a hell of a lot younger than me that, I'm like, this kid's got it. This kid's got it. Two names that pop out at me that I know have. There's a young man in Australia, Gus Young. He looks amazing. He's 18 years old. Clearly, you can clearly see he's got the physique for being a bodybuilder or a classic physique guy. Another kid from Long Island, Justin Greenberg, won the 2023 Nationals, Teenage Nationals. I mean, Jay Cutler won the Teenage Nationals, I'm pretty sure, right? And maybe even Branch Warren won the Teenage or something to that effect, right? Then you look at these kids and you go, okay, they have a future. It's worth it for them to pursue it. They have a future. But there are people that pursue a bodybuilding career and just waste their time, waste their money, waste their energy, put everything on hold, don't get a real job, can't live on their own, and it becomes ridiculous. It's almost like a pathetic life, right? Because you got to understand what it takes to be a bodybuilder, and you got to understand the sacrifices, right? So first of all, it is extremely expensive to be a bodybuilder. Food, gym membership, NPC card, registering for the show, posing, tanning, supplements, anabolics, massage, posing trunks. I mean, you're going down the list. Everything costs money. If you want a trainer, they're not going to do it for free. Whether you get an online trainer or somebody in person, if they do say, I'll do it for free, then you better try and figure out why this person is doing it for free, because anybody worth anything is going to charge. That's if this is what they do for a living, right? I made that mistake firsthand. I mean, you're sacrificing friends, you're sacrificing families, sacrificing get-togethers. You can't go out and enjoy yourself majority of the time. Like, I know there's an off season, blah, blah, blah. I get it, but you're talking maybe 4, 5, 6 months out of the year as a competitive bodybuilder the way you can't enjoy yourself. And you'll miss family functions because I got to get to the gym. I have to tan. Oh, I have to do posing. You won't be able to eat what you want or drink what you want. Now, I'm not saying, there's a difference between being a glutton and being a competitive bodybuilder. There's a huge different side of the spectrum. Okay. Like, listen, I hit the gym all the time, but I have balance. And that balance allows me to enjoy myself in my private life. Okay. But unfortunately, if you want to be a professional bodybuilder, you're not going to have balance. Okay. You're not going to be able to balance good friendships, good family structure, enjoying yourself, everything. If you are not a selfish person to begin with, bodybuilding will make you selfish because everything revolves around you. You have to go home and you got to food prep. You got to make sure you drink your water. You got to make sure you take your supplements. You go to work, it even affects your career because if you have a career that's outside of like the fitness world, you got to bring your food with you. You can't, a lot of times there are dinners after work and you're going to bring your food with you or you go to the bar or you go whatever. I mean, if you're in a sales position, if you're in an executive position, everybody knows that mingling is part of it. And now this interrupts it. Even if you have a trade like me, right? Let's say you're, I don't know, let's say you're a mason or a plumber. You think the foreman's going to go, yeah, go ahead, go eat. Come back in 20 minutes when he's done eating. No, you're busting your ass trying to fucking get the work done. And no foreman wants to hear, oh, he's got to eat. I mean, so everything revolves around you and everything revolves around bodybuilding. And the majority of people that are involved in bodybuilding have to actually get a career somehow, some way to become personal trainers, online train, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Right? Health risks. Okay. It is not healthy to get down to 2% body fat or whatever it is. It is not healthy to cut your water. It is not healthy to take anabolic steroids. You're talking about possible kidney problems and heart problems and all kinds of things that could possibly go wrong, right? Especially if you take the wrong diuretics. There's so many variables that could hurt you. The other thing, and this one kind of bothers me the most. A lot of people actually postpone major life decisions. And this affects women more than men, right? Because men could have kids like whenever they want. But at the same time, nobody wants to be an old dad where you can't play basketball with your kid because you're too damn old. But there are women that take anabolics, compete, don't have children, don't have a husband. The only way they have a boyfriend is if they are on their page and have to follow them, period. Like, I mean, follow them with their lifestyle. So they have to be okay with them going to the gym. They have to be okay with them going home and food prepping. They have to be okay with them, not going to certain family functions. And that's very difficult to find. And then you're postponing having children, and then you're going to take anabolics on top of that, what may affect you having children. I think the large majority of people don't realize the risks because it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like addicting too. You get on that stage and people are staring at you and giving you attention, especially if you win, and you kind of like you want that attention again. You want that high again. But to get to that high is like so many sacrifices, money, time, your health risks, friendship, family. It's just not worth it. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, look, here's basically my rule of thumb. If you're not doing damage in the bodybuilding world within your 20s, find something else. I mean, there are people that don't develop a career, that don't have a trade, that don't have a skill to make a living because they want to pursue a bodybuilding career. That is just ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. And then turning yourself into a selfish person because you want to be a bodybuilder doesn't serve anybody. You become a better person to serve the people around you, like starting a family, like being a better wife or a better husband and a better father, or a better mother. But if you're too busy, you know, worrying about yourself, then it's worthless. It's never going to work having, any kind of relationship like that, or having a family, or so on and so forth. It's never going to work. The rule one to having a healthy marriage is not being selfish, because it's not about you anymore. Now it's about your husband or your wife or your children. Now, listen, don't get me wrong, okay? If you're, Nick Walker, if you're Samson Dowder, if you're in the top 10 or the top 20 in the world, and this is how you make a living, that's completely different. Daddy's working and making a living, so on and so forth. That's completely different, right? I get it. This is what you do, and this is how you make money. Totally get it. I just don't think it's worth it for the amount of people to go into it. And what kind of fucking friends do you have that allow you to do it too? I mean, I've been at the gym where somebody says to me, I want to be a bodybuilder, and I'm dead serious. Like, I'm dead serious. It's happened to me several times, not just once or twice, several times. Where somebody says to me, I want to be a bodybuilder. Can you take a look at me? And I go, okay, yeah, sure, let's go. And we go into the locker room, and they take off their shirt, and either there's nothing or they're fat. I mean, I had two people, two guys, obviously, girls, obviously, I can't look at in the gym, right? I'm not taking anything, but two guys in particular that were like, I want to be a bodybuilder. And but they took off their shirts, and they were literally fat. They were pudgy. And I'm like, dude, like, you got, you're not ready. They don't want to hear that. Do you know what I mean? And it's difficult. It's very difficult. I've had other people, they just a great upper body, no legs, zero legs. And I'm like, well, you could do men's physique. That's about it. But even still, like, men's physique is it's almost dead. Classic physique, like, stomped it out of existence. I can't even tell you the kid's name who just won at the Arnold Classic. I have no idea. I have no idea who the kid's name is. No clue. Couldn't tell you. And all I'm telling you is, like, look, bodybuilding is a great sport, but don't put it over other things, especially if you don't have a future in it. Stop being delusional. Stop being around people that are going to tell you what you want to hear, and take into consideration what is the truth. Like, if you are the type of guy that looks through rose-colored glasses, like those two fat kids that asked me to look at them, and they think they're going to be on the Olympia stage in a couple of years, somebody's got to tell them. Somebody has to say, look, man, you are delusional. This is not for you. You have the worst genetics. I don't care how much shit you take. I don't care how many supplements you take. I don't care what kind of dieting you do. Find something else. Uh, this one is mostly for the young men. Guys, concentrate on being able to make a good living, because then you can do anything you want on the side. Like, look, I know this is going to sound ridiculous. This show fills the void of me not being able to bodybuild. Okay, I did it into my 30s, and I finally had to come to terms with myself that, look, I'm just not good enough. And it happens all the time. This is not just bodybuilding. It happens in plenty of other sports where you have to come to terms with yourself and go, I'm just not going to make the pros. It's just not going to happen. Right. And if I had to come to terms with myself, and I decided, you know what, forget it. I'm going to put everything else ahead of me. My career, my wife, my home, making a living, so on and so forth. And I found this podcast, or I started this podcast to fill that void, because I love bodybuilding so much. There's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing wrong with personal training. There's nothing wrong with personal training on the side, so because you love it and do things that that you really, really like. There's nothing wrong with whatever, becoming a nutritionist, seminars. There's so many ways to fulfill the void of bodybuilding without wasting money and wasting time and postponing real life choices where that you can actually enjoy it. I love bodybuilding so much more now that I do this, but sometimes somebody has to be the bad guy and tell you you don't have what it takes. And it sucks. I told one girl this one time, and the girl never spoke to me again. She was going into a contest, and she was soft. She was doing figure, and she was soft. She was soft. And then she comes back to the gym. I'll never forget it. She comes back to the gym, and she says, how'd you do? And I knew she was soft, but I didn't want to, she was a week out, but I didn't want to tell her she's wasting her time a week out. I just said, good luck, wish you the best, blah, blah, blah. But then afterwards, I said, how'd you do? Oh, the whole thing is corrupt. The whole thing is fixed. They don't even want who they want to win. And I was like, I don't remember her name. I was like, look, you were soft. You weren't ready. Blaming on everybody else is not what it's about. Okay. You either come to a realization that this is not for you, or you come to a realization that next time you do it, you better do your homework. And she's like, well, what did I do wrong? I was like, I don't know. I'm not your coach. I don't know what you did wrong, but I could tell you that you weren't ready. And then she shows me the video, shows me pictures, sorry, on her phone. And I picked out the top five or the top six. And she goes, yeah, that was the top six. I was like, see, I'm not a judge. I'm not a corrupt judge. I literally just picked out the top six without you telling me who the top six were. And she got so mad at me. She got so pissed because that's not what she wanted to hear. But would you rather somebody cheer you on and continue to waste your time? I mean, God knows how many contests she did after that. I don't know. I never, she never spoke to me again. God knows how many contests she did after that and went nowhere. You know, this whole selfish attitude doesn't make any sense to me when you could fulfill your life with family, with good friends, and then do things in and around bodybuilding to fill the void. Look, man, this is just my 2 cents. I think sometimes people have to be the bad guy and they have to tell you. And I think real friends will tell you. I think real family members will tell you. And I think people that just praise you constantly, even though you shouldn't be praised at times, even though the truth should be told, I think they're doing you a disservice. But like I said, there are people out there that are truly talented, and and then there's the flip side of this. There are people that can be great bodybuilders, and they just don't want to put the work in. And you could just look at their genetic, you'll look at them and you go, if you just do a little bit, you could turn pro. And they just don't have the drive. And then the people that make it are somewhere in between those two extremes, right? But anyway, that's just my little take on that. I've just seen this way too much. I've seen guys and girls wasting their time years upon years trying to pursue a career that they're never going to have. Right? Sorry, guys. That's the truth. And like, share, subscribe. Obviously, I'll be doing more positive stuff. This is going to be the only negative thing, but sometimes somebody's got to tell you. Later, guys.